So, you know, when you talk about circular economy, you want to reuse, recycle, repurpose, remanufacture, so I miss the reusing. So, and the European Union is a member of the Africa Circular Economy Alliance since 2019, as far as I remember. The European Commission, represented by the Directorate General for Environment. So I'm talking about, in line of the theme of the whole event, EU cooperation, partnership, continental alignment for circular economy transformation in Africa. We have an ambition as a EU, and that's, we want to be the leader, a global leader in the transition to the circular economy and the global fight against pollution. I could also add climate change, and our vehicle is the European Green Deal. How do we go circular and to zero pollution? So let's build a case, and we have a relatively new European Commission in place, a second von der Leyen Commission, which is, that's the president. She is a mother of the European Green Deal, I would say, in 2019. Then some of you might have seen Teresa Ribera, because she was at the Africa Climate Summit just 1 month ago here in Addis. She's the number 2 of the European Commission. She's a vice president for a clean, a just, and a competitive transition. So environment, social, and still competitive economic. Then we have a commissioner, interestingly, in the name of the commissioner is now Commissioner for Environment, Water Resilience, and a Competitive Circular Economy. We never had that. So it's a Commissioner for Circular Economy. Then of course we have the Commissioner for Climate, Net Zero and Clean Growth. And finally, for international partnership, we have Josef Sikela. We see a lot of opportunities, like many of you, in processing when it comes to circular economy, to create the jobs of the future, to protect nature also, and eliminate pollution and waste. And there is a strong global dimension which the EU has in its policies under the Circular Economy Action Plan. And so we have an ambition to drive the global transition, both policy-wise, but also funding-wise. We want to contribute to the introduction of sustainability requirements. You know, the European Commission is a strong regulator. We believe in regulation. We need also to cut some red tapes, but we have to encourage industries to change. And of course, we have to look into policy coherence for development. So what do we do in Africa? It was mentioned several times now. We actually provide technical assistance to jointly develop with the EU and with other partners the Continental Circular Economy Action Plan for Africa 2024 to 2035. These are the main partners who have worked on that agenda, and it was officially launched at the AMCEN in Nairobi on the 17th of July. So that's the title page, that's the product. You can find it online on the African Union website. And that was a moment. We have Commissioner Roswell on the left, we have Commissioner Vilakati, and we have the deputy from UNEP to present basically the first copy in Nairobi at this event. Davina, you will remember it, we were there, and we are really happy that it happened. Okay, now I just want to walk you a little bit through what we do globally, regionally, locally, not all of it, but just some examples. Because we do already contribute to the implementation of the Circular Economy Action Plan. We do not just start now, okay, we have the Circular Economy Action Plan, let's think how to implement. No, I think a lot of programs do already contribute to exactly that. And of course, we have one which is about to finalize the PAGE program. We have PAGE later here. 102 million euros the European Union spent on PAGE. We have switched to Africa and whatever. We have a lot of global programs, but that was possibly one of the biggest ones, and it's still running, but for not too long anymore. Huh? You will tell us more. Okay, then we have a TA facility, which was basically on MENA countries. MENA is basically the Mediterranean, the northern part, not sub-Saharan Africa. That was 12.9 billion. We have a UN initiative launched in 2021 for 20.9 million looking into supporting enterprises and in special sectors, plastic, packaging, textiles, garment, electronics and ICT. So this brings all that together to really close to 150 million euro. Very new, it was launched last year. It's a World Circular Economy Forum in Brussels. It's the Circular Economy Resources Center, implemented by CITRA, who is basically the organizer of all World Circular Economy Fora, and Enable from the Netherlands. And these are basically the three labs, let's say. So looking to a knowledge lab, looking to policies, looking to businesses. A learning platform, a TA platform to not repeat, but it's also, of course, a pool of information which is accessible and can be shared. Now we come to regional programs in Africa. That's all my pride. No, I was happy. I was in 2023, I think, in Kigali. It's the first African World Circular Economy Forum. I happened to be in the Trailblazer session to present this idea of this program, Switch to Circular Economy in East and Southern Africa. And 2 years later, it's now under implementation, 40 million euro. You heard about the 5 big bets for circular economy in Africa. So we take 2 out of the 5 bets as focal sectors: packaging, plastic waste, and electronics and e-waste. And of course, I think both of them are becoming of increasing importance, packaging anyway, but e-waste, we all talk about critical raw materials and so on, and even neo-colonialism sometimes in a negative language. People want to accuse Europe of doing that, but we have to invest also in mining e-waste. That's really important. We do that in Europe, and we have a lot of e-waste, I think, in municipalities, in all agglomerations, and I'm not talking only about smartphones, but there's so much to be mined in e-waste. So 3 components, I think it's very important, these 3 components. In a policy component, governance, regulatory framework, I talked earlier about it, as a capacity building component, and it has access to finance, a matching grant mechanism for startups, SMEs, for joint ventures between African companies, but also between European and African companies for technology transfer. But this can go in both directions, because I think a lot of technologies can be transferred from Africa to Europe as well. Yeah, so let's not forget about it. So it follows a South-South approach to learn from each other. We know some countries in Africa are very advanced. So Rwanda, Nigeria, we heard earlier, Kenya, South Africa, Botswana. Others are possibly just starting to realize, oh wow, there's something new. We can go into circular economy. So it's a platform to learn from each other, not to start from zero, but basically to see, hey, how did you guys make it in Rwanda? How's your regulatory environment? And of course, we have a similar approach through the facility as well. Switch Med, also Mediterranean again, similar program, 40 million, so that's another 80 million. And what else? Southern Neighborhood, that's also another program. I don't go through all that. That's an important one. It's around Lake Tanganyika. It looks very much at municipalities, to avoid drainage of waste and into the lake, and so it's implemented by Enable, another huge program which started, I think, 1 or 2 years ago. And now we look at bilateral very briefly. That's just an overview. All these segments you see on this chart are the sectors of the Circular Economy Action Plan for Africa. So let's say the length of these charts is basically how many % of EU funding goes into these different sectors, and you see some accentuation. Here you see a regional, same thing basically, but regional parts in Africa. So you see, I don't go through all of it in detail, but you see we do a lot in North Africa. That's of course our southern neighborhood. We do quite a lot in East Africa and in Southern Africa, but there more has to be done certainly in Central Africa and also in West Africa in terms of picking up on circular economy. So a few examples. I will not go through all the details. That's an example from Angola. And it will be featured also during the business summit at the African Union, European Union summit in 24th, 25th of November in Luanda. Commissioner Roswell met the Minister of Angola in Nairobi at Amsterdam, and they also talked about it. So that's about solid waste management in Angola. We'll go also into agri-food. An example is in Algeria, to look into innovative startups in sustainable agriculture, in agribusiness. We look into education and capacity development. Here an example of Mozambique. It's under development. Look again more on agriculture, but also in other areas outside agriculture. Energy is very important, the energy sector. So there is a program in Morocco, quite big, 50 million euro, on green energy. Of course, we have to transit energy, and you know, all this discussion about green hydrogen, carbon border adjustment mechanism. If we invest in green energy in the future technologies, we don't even talk about carbon border adjustment mechanism as a problem, but as an opportunity to invest in green energy, which is the cheapest anyway nowadays. It's not that we have to make a business case, no, it is a business case. In Zambia, that was another program, quite big actually, Green Tech for Circular Economy Zambia, started also last year. It's another of the babies which I gave birth to before I came to Addis 1 year ago. There we look very much at recycling, urban waste, but also different solutions, and it's also linked very much to critical raw materials in the whole Lobito corridor discussion. So what's in the pipeline? Under the Clean Industrial Deal, which is under the European Green Deal, we have in the pipeline a Clean Industrial Deal, the Clean Industrial Deal I mentioned, and under this one, we have to talk about access to materials. This is this discussion in which we are with critical raw materials, green transition minerals, however you want to call it. And very important is we also will have a Circular Economy Act in Europe. It's foreseen for 26. An act means always a regulation which has to be, it's EU law, and then the member states have to implement it into national law. So that's quite strong. When we have a Circular Economy Act, it will be a very, very strong regulatory framework to transition faster from a linear to circular economy. And of course, when I talk about Europe, we try to bring that also into our international partnerships, or all of these ideas, because we need to accelerate on all fronts. So, of course, in terms of pipeline, I should also mention we have this global gateway investment package. I think we have to make a stronger case on circular economy in the future, because depending on who you talk, some people think, oh, it's all about corridors, it's all about roads, it's all about railways and energy, but there's a lot of opportunities, and we have to talk to the banks about that, how to come up with financial instruments, blending, to tap into global gateway, and in all sectors. It's an opportunity, it's a clear opportunity to go circular for a cleaner, greener, circular future in Africa, in Europe, and in the rest of the world. That's what we try to stand for and promote as a European Union. And I would say, with a lot of member states, we consider ourselves as Team Europe. We saw Finland this morning there. That's a very important member state when it comes to circularity. Thank you very much.